Hey everybody, Dr. Dave Marquis here, and I wanted to share with you some concepts around the topic of cancer. And this is by no means going to be a comprehensive deep dive, just some things that I've observed that people should be aware of as they may, unfortunately, experience that type of a struggle and have to go on that journey. So first off, I do not treat cancers. I support the human body to become more adept at recognizing things that shouldn't be there, and so that it can work on them themselves. So I'm more focused on the individual rather than the disease. I'll put it that way. Next thing that I'm going to kind of throw out as a blanket, this book right here, The Metabolic Approach to Cancer, it's a great read. I would encourage anyone who is on that path to take the time to understand the different metabolic approaches that an individual should be aware of and may want to implement as they go on their journey. The third thing that I'd like you to be aware of is that there are tests that can act as screening tools to help us to understand if we have active circulating tumor cells in our body. One is the GRAIL test by Galleri, and that's a great test that has about an 80% sensitivity rate for about 15 different cancers, but it tests for like 70 different cancers. So that's something that people could consider to use as a screening tool when they're looking at their overall well-being. And there are other companies that are up and coming and looking at that as well. But the GRAIL and Galleri, that company has been around for a little while, and they have some reliable numbers that you can look at for a number of different cancers. It's worth a look. Having said that, things that I have observed about patients that are struggling with cancer is the need for helping them to find ways that they can fuel themselves that don't also simultaneously fuel cancers. So I love the concept of applying proper ketosis and then also cycling that with fasting. Now, proper ketosis is literally the use of fat as your primary fuel. Many times people hear that as, I got to eat a lot of meat. That's not what it is. It's using fat as your primary fuel. And that's a whole nother topic, but just know you need to learn about proper ketosis. Because if you do that, cancer cells predominantly utilize sugar as their fuel. So if we're applying ketotic principles, we're not using any glucose or sugars in the body, and so the body's going to inherently have a lack of fuel for those cells that have mutated and become cancerous, and you'll literally start starving them out. And then to capitalize on that process, rolling that into fasted states can accelerate the rate of kill for these cells that are glucose dependent. And doing a fast, it also includes using some of the same things that you would use for ketosis. So you might be using like some MCT oil or hydroxybutyrate, some of these things that are energy-rich, fat-based compounds that your brain will feed off of really well. And what you'll find is that by utilizing that with electrolytes and staying hydrated, you can go through some extended medical fasts that allow you to be in a very healthy state while you're simultaneously reducing your cancer burden. So love those two approaches. Next category is some of just your basic nutrition. One of the things that I commonly find in patients is that they're low in vitamin D. And if you simply get your vitamin D above 60 nanograms, you can cut the risk and incidence of all cancers by up to 50%. So that's low-hanging fruit that I think anyone should do. And then making sure that your microbiome is appropriate, as we now know that cancers are caused from a variety of different reasons. There's viral components, there's parasitic components, there's dysbiotic components, basically things that irritate our system over and over again, and each of those are modifiable. So I love helping patients understand their gut health and how to make sure that their colon is happy and they actually have adequate fuel to feed the lining of the gut and not pathogenic bacteria. So that would be like measuring your butyric acid and your propionate and your acetate, all those short-chain fatty acids that feed the gut lining. Very important, simple to do. Making sure that your flora is appropriate, not just fed, but you have a good balance of those. Then the next category is looking at the approach of complementary therapy. So many patients come in and they're seeking chemotherapy at the same time. And what we'll do is we'll find ways that we can support them dietarily, maybe nutritionally, and then combining that with some of the antiparasitics. You've probably heard of things like ivermectin, fenbendazole. There's many studies, and I've seen it with my own eyes clinically, that support the utilization of some of these antiparasitics along with dietary changes in conjunction with some of the chemotherapeutics. And it literally enhances and amplifies their beneficial effect or the reduction of circulating tumor cells and the cancer itself. I share this with you so that you know that if you unfortunately get that type of a diagnosis, there's things that you can do. And in many cases, it can be life-changing for you, where it helps you to get past the acute phase of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And start to see light at the end of the tunnel and realize that I'm going to make it through this. And that would be the last category that I would encourage you to embrace, and that's the space between your ears. Anytime you get a bad diagnosis, something that weighs heavily on you like that, realize that how you think and what you believe is just as important as the things that you're physically doing and the things that you're taking, so that you can change your mental construct so that the rest of the cells in your body align with what you're thinking and believing. So I can't overstate the impact of positive mental focus while you're attacking anything health-related, cancer included. I hope this has kind of piqued your interest in looking at things that you can do to help to cancer-proof yourself, realize that a cancer diagnosis is not the end of the world, and that there's resources out there that are available to all of us, that you can be guided with individuals like myself, other physician practitioners, or guided by yourself through texts like The Metabolic Approach to Cancer.